I'd like to have a conversation today on trust, engagement, and about how to avoid conflict. So I feel that I should start with one of the problems that we've got in society today is ego and pridefulness. And these two are something which a lot of us react to, myself included. And I feel that when we're in conversations with other people, it's not what you say, it's how we say it and how we talk to other people, and depending on how we conduct ourselves, will depend on how the response we get in return. So I'd like to sort of talk about trust first of all. Who do we trust? Apart from ourselves, well, a lot of us don't even know ourselves after time, but apart from ourselves, we know what we're thinking all the time. Can you tell me 100% that you know that person who you're talking to, and know that what you're going to say to them is going to stay there, it's going to stay with them, or is it going to be repeated elsewhere? So if we don't trust anybody, who do we talk to? Who do we engage with? Sometimes we have to sort of look, we have to put our trust in people until they prove otherwise, because otherwise we go through life with, well, I don't trust that person, and I don't trust that person, and I don't trust that person. You know, yes, it's okay to have a gut reaction or gut instinct on something, because our instincts aren't always wrong. Very often we're right. So if we're talking to people that we don't trust, how can you have an honest, genuine engagement with them? Well, the answer is, in my opinion, is that you talk to them as if they're yourself, if you like, because you trust yourself, right? You believe that what you're doing is right. So talk to that other person in the same mode until they prove otherwise. Since March 2020, in especially, I have heard so many people voice their concerns about certain people because of what they've allegedly said, allegedly done. Now, we don't know, whether that person has done what they're alleged to have done. We do know that there are many people out there that are, let's just say, stirring a pot to cause problems. So we have to make sure that we are doing our best to not condemn everybody. I wouldn't like to be condemned as somebody that you can't trust. I feel that we have to trust some people. I have a small group of people that I work with. They know who they are. I don't have to mention names. I've been added to many groups, with something like 47,000 people in it. Now, it's impossible for me to know all them people. Absolutely impossible. So that's why I tend to try to work with small groups, because you get to know people a little bit more. There's a few people that are very forthright in their views. And I mean, Brian is one. I know that with him, I know there's no hidden agendas. He comes straight out with it. Sometimes it's like bullying a china shop, but I know I can trust him because he's got what he'll say to me. He'll say to other people and vice versa. He won't slag me off behind my back and then give me all of the niceness to my face. He'll be straight, and I respect that. So those are the sort of people that I prefer to work with. But also, I like to work with people that have got respect for other people's opinions. I think that is key, which leads me onto how to engage. I think that's very important as well. One of the things that I've been doing for a long time now, and if I go back to my younger days, I was the opposite of what I am now. I wouldn't be engaging. It just wouldn't be happening. I'd just be flying off the handle. But now I engage. I listen to people, and that's another thing that I find that us humans have a problem with. We don't really listen to the other person. We wait for them to finish talking so we can talk. And when we skim hear, we don't hear everything. Same as we skim read, we don't read everything. And so many of us get things wrong because we haven't taken it in. One of the things that I've been doing certainly since March 2020 has been looking at what's going on in the world, and not just skim reading bits of the news, actually digesting the news and looking at it in a critical form. This has led me to where I am now, which is, unfortunately, it's lost me many friends. It's lost me family. But I do believe that because of the research I've done, and I haven't listened, I haven't skim read, I've taken it all in and taken it on board, which has led me to where I am. But, I'm pleased where I am because I don't want to be anything else other than who I am, rather than being what other people want me to be. And if it means me losing friends and that and family, then so be it. How to engage? Okay, so let's have a look at where we are in the world. We all know that something's not right. We're all concerned about where the world's going to be, not just for us, but more importantly for the next generation and the generations that follow. I'm pretty sure a lot of us can sense that something just isn't right. So I've been trying to engage with people in authority. And I feel the best way is to have open up a respectable conversation. And I use this example. If you're out fishing, you wouldn't chuck a brick into the river to catch the fish. You'd get, I don't do fishing, but I believe you'd put a maggot or a worm or whatever as bait on the end of your line, and you put it into the water, and the fish comes over because it's interested, and it takes the bait. It's not much different to how we engage with other people. When we engage with other people, we try to talk to them in a way that they are prepared to be receptive, rather than being confrontational, disrespectful, and just downright bullish. In my opinion, that doesn't work, and I've experienced to support that. So what I'm looking to do, and have been doing quite successfully, is to engage with authority figures. And I ask them a question, what do you think? And it's something that I've been doing for many, many years, or decades actually, from the days when I used to run youth football teams. At half time, I would say to my young players, okay, guys, so tell me what you think of your performance first half. And I'd let them tell me. There's no point me telling them, oh, well, I think you've done this and I think you've done that. I want to hear from them what they thought. And that's what we should be doing, in my opinion. Engaging with other people, asking them for their views. And then how do we go about sort of like putting our view across it if it conflicts with theirs. But it's important that we don't say, well, you're wrong because I believe I'm right. You know, we have to find a way in order to have this engagement. And that way is to open up respectful, positive dialogue. And then if somebody comes up and says, well, I'm right because I've been told that something is happening. Okay, so the response ideally should be, okay, so can you give me some substance to back up what you've been told is happening? And if they can't, then again, that opens up further dialogue, i.e., well, I've got some information that you might find interesting because I've got information that goes against what you've been told, but it's factual information. Would you mind if I showed you it? That opens up dialogue. But if you just go and say, well, what you've been told is wrong, then you're just going to go backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards. It's all about it's not what you say, it's how you say it. My dear old mum told me that many, many years ago, and I'm trying to sort of like do that to the best of my ability. Of course, we're all human beings, and sometimes we wake up in a different mindset than the day before, and sometimes our reactions are slightly different. It's important that we try our hardest to engage in the best possible way in order to open up positive dialogue. At the moment, I'm having really good positive traction with local councillors. You know, I'm not reining them in. I'm just literally having conversations with them in order to try and get some middle ground where we can see where this world is going. It's very, very important that we do it the right way. And it's very important that we don't go in there with I'm right, you're wrong. So that's how we engage, in my opinion, is to ask that other person first what their views are. And then we go from there and see where we take it. But that starting point is the key. If you don't start off right, then the whole thing is going to implode, and the person you're talking to is going to be on a defensive. You know, it's important we do it the right way. And how to avoid conflict? Well, it's touching on what I've just spoken about just now. You know, if we have a discussion on something, and many people are very passionate about what they believe in, and so when you give them the opposite of their belief, they're likely to feel defensive, because you're suddenly you're just basically pouring scorn on their belief system. So we do it in such a way that we try to, again, similar to how to engage, we go about things in a way that doesn't cause the other person to be defensive. We talk to them and say, well, so what makes you think that, you know? And then have that discussion, have that debate with them. Went to a meeting last week, and there was a lot of people there that were very passionate about change. I think it's very important that we realise that we're not always the person that's in the right. And something I mentioned at that meet last week is, if there's 200 people in a room, that's potentially 200 different views, different opinions. So which one's right? And where do we find that middle ground? You know, it's important that we don't just believe we're the person in the right and everyone else is wrong. Through discussion, through thrashing things out, you know, a bit of brainstorming as well, we will all come to the best possible outcome. And it might not always be our outcome, but it's about listening to other people. You know, some of the best ideas I've had is through talking to other people, and suddenly something they've said is, well, and I think, boom, that's brilliant, that's fantastic. Let's use that and let's work on that, and maybe we can improve that. You know, but it's a starting point. One of the things that I just watched a video a little while ago, a friend sent me, and something that the guy had said is it's so powerful. It's only a few words, but it goes like this: if you're talking to people in authority, this quote: if it turned out that policies caused harm, would you still follow them? And that in itself is a powerful piece, because people have to answer that, you know. And if people don't answer that, that tells you everything. You know, the reason I'm doing things that I'm doing in my life is because I don't believe that if a policy causes harm, I'm not going to follow it, no matter who asks me to do it. You know, we've all got our own walks in life, and it's what we believe to be the best way forward. But it's important that we don't just believe that we're right and everyone else is wrong, and that we condemn everybody because they don't sing to our tune. It's very important that we work together. And like I say, I've gained a lot of positive traction with some people in authority, and getting them to become aware of things that they wasn't aware of before. You know, we assume that people know everything because they're an authority. It's not always the case. You know, it's about us trying to help them as well as helping ourselves, and it's how we do it that matters. So, in summary, you know, it's about working together. You know, we couldn't exist in this world without other people. You know, and so we need to find a way of working together and engaging with each other in such a way that it works for us all. I'm going to continue to do the work that I do, you know, but what I would suggest is that don't follow what I do, you know, but perhaps try and find a way where you can engage with other people in a non-confrontational way, where you can open up some positive engagement, and you can get other people to perhaps see things slightly differently to the way they did before, prior to your discussion. It is important because at the moment we as adults, we've got young people who don't really have a voice, no, not in the voice of where this world's going. And it's important that we make sure that when our time is up, that the world is left in a stable place, stable position for them to also enjoy life. Because if we carry on just following policies which either don't make sense or potentially cause harm, then that harm is going to be passed down to the following generations. And that is something that, as a youth mentor, I can't get my head around. We need to all come together. And if you're one of those people who agrees that something's not right, but believe that, well, there's Terry and there's other people doing it, I don't need to. I think that's important that you realise that you do need to, because your children, your grandchildren are relying on you to do the right thing forget about doing the right thing for yourself, doing the right thing for them. Because right now they don't have that voice to be able to challenge what's going on in the world. You know, at the moment I'm challenging a lot of things. the climate emergency claim, and thus far of freedom of information requests that I've put in to 2 local councils and the London mayor, I have had 3 requests back, and none of them have been able to substantiate this climate emergency. There's nothing to back that up. And so this is a to be continued, because I'm still having an engagement with the councils, and I'm not going to stop, not questioning it, challenging it, but I'll do it in the right way, where positive dialogue and debate is opened up, and councils across the country will be receptive to this positive debate. We have to have those positive debates in order to find positive outcomes. So again, you don't attempt to catch a fish by chucking a book into the water. You try to sort of like put something on the line in order to sort of like encourage somebody to come closer, so you can have that dialogue and then see where we go from there. It's vitally important that we do that, because until we do, we're always going to be at conflict with other people. We're always going to be at loggerheads. We're always going to have to distrust of other people. And if we don't have honesty, integrity, and respect and common decency towards other people and ourselves, then this whole situation will continue. We have to learn to respect ourselves and other people, and not just automatically believe that everyone's wrong, because I certainly wouldn't want people to think that I'm one of those people who are fake. You know, I'm as transparent as a glass in our front window. You know, what you see through the glass is there. I'm not going to be any different. And that's what I would say to anybody. Just be yourself. Don't say and do things just to keep other people happy, because you're letting yourself down as well. Just be transparent. Just do the best for the generations that follow us. Enjoy the rest of the weekend, guys, and speak to you again soon. Bye-bye.